asking for recommendations to be made is not enough. Only condemnation and only sanctions on the most heinous violators of human rights in this assembly, only that will suffice. When Iranians in 1979 wanted an Islamic revolution, merely asking for it was not enough. When Egyptians wanted their freedom from Mubarak's American-supported regime, asking for it was not enough. We need to seize it. We need to fight for it. And thus, for the same reason why the delegate of the USA opposes this resolution on the basis of Clause 14, we must support it, because only sanctions will provide us with the adequate force required to implement the recommendations in the Kyoto Protocol and the Copenhagen Consensus. Only with Clause 7 that the delegate of Brazil opposed will we actually have the necessary force to have these recommendations put into practice and not simply onto paper. And as such, we must vote for this resolution to finally end this problem once and for all. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Delegate. Are you open to any points of information?
Yes, Chair, and you don't.
Are there any delegates wish to make a point of information for this delegate? Delegates of Portugal and Sweden, even recognized in that order.
Would the delegate not be considerate for certain countries that might not be capable of taking in or acting against the force that might be exerted on them in forms of sanctions?
Delegate, the fact is we cannot sympathize with the countries whose crimes we must all suffer for. It is not the least powerful countries that suffer at the hands of these potential sanctions. It is the worst human rights violator, the worst polluter in the world, the developed nations, the United States. And it is unfair for us then to suffer for their crimes, and it is only just then for us to deal the justice on them with the strongest possible means. Thank you.
Follow-up, Chair?
Not granted in just the time.
Does the delegate not believe that this council that decides whether a nation is guilty of offending or not could easily be biased, such as, for instance, USA, if USA was judging if Iraq was biased or not?
Thank you, Delegate. And as the very process of this Assembly passing this resolution would be, it is a democratic consensus reached by countries. And if we are to objectively analyze the statistics, Iran contributes virtually nothing in terms of the world's CO2 emissions, whereas certain nations in this Assembly contribute almost 20% and more. Clearly then, a democratic consensus would see that truth and deal justice out accordingly. Thank you.